souL is going to be able to take this 2-0 as we expect him to. In the top right for Team Makers, it is the Red Terran souL.
And playing for Cascade, it is the blue Protoss player, the Russian hope, SKillous.
I do low-key love SKillous when I'm casting the qualifiers. Just something about these up-and-coming Protosses in Europe. Like, I just like, they're always playing, so I can always rely on them, and they always get like fairly far, so they're actually really nice people to follow. And SKillous is one of those guys that they also keep on facing each other in PvP. So whenever I think of many Protosses right now, I think of PvP. There's so much of it, but it's also where they shine. PvT it still feels like more of a question mark. Funnily enough, it feels like, you know, there's the whole idea that there's not a whole lot of Terrans in Europe, and that's still kind of true. But I guess, like, I would have expected souL to be uncomfortable in TVP. I guess he gets so much practice. Like, and SKillous can't get enough practice versus Terran. Maybe that is the problem. Maybe that stereotype is still true.
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, I think that mostly from Terrans, we're seeing a lot of 2-base pushes, right, in this matchup?
I mean, yeah, it depends on who you're talking about, truly. Nice thing about, even though it is a limited, quote-unquote, number of Terrans, at this point we're getting kind of a nice diversification, you know, souL getting better and better. It does depend on who you're talking about. Clam and Hearing is like nothing but a 3cc build, it feels like, lately, actually. But Clem might be a little more on the 2-base, and then souL, whenever I think of souL's PvP or TVP, I am actually thinking more about the later stages. Although he might throw in a 2-base attack, I never expect like an SCV pool.
Yeah, that's how I thought of souL generally as a player in the Team League, though. Whenever he played TVP, he was bringing out basically 2-base builds, aggression. When he got a little bit of time to prepare for his opponent, he basically adjusted a little bit. So I'm wondering if that's also what we're going to see here. Personally, I, as a Protoss player, struggle against 2-base aggression, but on the Terran side, I've heard that Colossi are just extremely potent defensively.
Well, especially with that overcharged shield battery, that has already, I mean, how old is it? Not too old, but it's already affected many games that I've cast. Like, oh my god, they would have died if they didn't have that stasis trap. Now is, oh my god, they would have died if they didn't have that overcharge. As these Terrans are still hitting pretty nice timings and still finding those Colossus builds without a lot of fodder, which makes it a little bit difficult. That is not supposed to happen. The Adept gets in, he gets a full scout. It is the normal 1/1/1 Widowmine drop, but it is really nice to get that full scout.
Did he click it? He gotta click it! Click it! Okay. All right, how important is this scout? How do you feel as well, on both sides? I guess you play both races.
Yeah, a fair amount, actually. I'm pretty much half and half between the two. It feels really nice. But honestly, you see a lot of Protosses go for this faster third Nexus regardless of their scout. It was already SKillous' plan. He only had 2 gateways that really only goes into a faster third Nexus. In fact, this is actually a little bit interesting. He did open up Robo, but then a Twilight Council. So he actually might be changing his mind a little bit off of what he scouted. But a 1/1/1 is not surprising. And this Observer is going to even get a follow-up scout to see if anything else tricky is on the way. And there is, actually. Aliens and Reapers going to try and dive into the natural. The medevac heads into the main with Marines. So this is a trickier 1/1/1 than you would expect.
Yeah, and it's hitting fast after being scouted. It's not necessarily given up by the scout, though. Now, I mean, another hallucinated scout, but you don't really get to piece it together very easily, right? So this medevac is gonna enter the main base unannounced, and souL is so very good at multitasking. This could get dangerous for SKillous. Watch out for that mine.
Now, he just has to pull the probes away from this. I mean, if he loses a pylon, that is actually kind of, that's kind of an important pylon, but I think it is something where if you just calm down and deal with one thing at a time, it's not too bad, and hopefully that's what SKillous is doing. He actually might lose a couple of probes to the Hellions, not ideal. Literally a couple went down there, but now he can focus entirely on the main. He did lose that pylon, but oh my god.
That was
okay,
close.
He's not gonna lose too much in the main. And this can get so much worse if they respond like in haste. This is a good recall. I like this. Shield battery also finished up. This is a very odd attack from souL. And I don't blame SKillous for being a little bit surprised by it, but so far I think he's handling it decently well.
Yeah, he's done a great job, but it is such a difficult attack to hold. I think I really like what we're seeing on the side of souL. Even with the Hellions, I don't particularly like a lot of the decisions made with the units themselves, but his ability to multitask and I think execute his build order up until this point has been very threatening. Great job from SKillous, though, like you were pointing to.
Yeah, this might still do something. Like, there are still a lot of things at play here, a lot of units in a lot of different places. This Liberator did not die to a single stalker, unsurprisingly. Will come back again to help out the Marines. 2 more probes go down. It looks like souL realizes he won't be able to do too much more. I like that he's bringing those tanks back. That was going to be overkill. But there was also that chance, yeah, that SKillous, especially if he still had depowered production, wouldn't have enough to defend against this. This could have been so much worse. It could have been a little bit better. At the end of the day, who was macroing better is my question. souL banking a little bit here as SKillous was on his fortress.
Like, you see that medevac? Like, he loads the medevac and then goes through the stalkers. That was not the right call, then realizes that was not the right call, and tries to unload. But yeah, that was better without micro than with micro in that specific situation.
I love when that happens. So yeah, who macroed better is the real question for me. The resources loss trade is favorable for SKillous with income, minerals, and gas. And he did, I think he was even building probes kind of during that. So while the working out right now is actually very nice for the Terran, only down by 9 as it was, souL was later to a lot of important things. His economy is okay, defensively he's okay with 3 tanks. He's even building a bunker just in case there was something more to come out here. But his production was a little bit on the later side. It wasn't absolutely perfect macro. You can still see that with him banking a little bit right now. So that Stim Combat Shield 1-1 attack follow-up is not something that SKillous has to worry about for a while. And this is where we see the Protoss, take advantages, especially with such a very well-placed observer seeing everything that's going on.
Yeah, given how early his third was, the fact that he holds comfortably without losing too much, you pointing to the resources lost tab, I think is a great measure to see just how it went. And yeah, he did well enough behind it that I think SKillous is in a favorable position. Again, there are things that souL could have done better, but it's so difficult to fault a player when he's doing three different prongs at attack at a time, for example, right? Like with the Hellions and the Liberator coming in and a bunker building with Marines as well as the mine drop. But that first mine drop, for example, if he paid a little bit more attention to it, I think he can fly past as he's dropping, and then all of a sudden the mine didn't do anything. It could have had a huge impact. So yeah, a few opportunities missed. I like SKillous position a little bit better, but not really sure.
Me too, but I think there's still a lot to be said about the upcoming engagements. 2 drops on the left side are barely scouting. He's gonna drop them? Okay.
I'm not sure. I think at that point, it's Zealots, you just fly past and see. Then he decides, no, I'll drop onto the Zealots. And then he decides, no, I'll fly past. And then he decides, I'll just fly back. It's too much indecision.
Yeah. I think SKillous saw something a little bit awkward happen here, where he might have been anticipating a very swift tank follow-up, so I prioritized charge first, when actually in this type of game, the way it's gone, 9 minutes, not much has happened, or no follow-up pushes happen. I think actually made it 1 at Blink, which might have helped against those 2 drops, but because we are getting to kind of a passive 4-base first 4-base scenario, yeah, the earlier portion of this game is going to matter less and less, and it's going to matter more when they have those perfect armies.
Oh!
Widowmine shots, not the best, honestly. Only 4 probes go down.
Yeah, it looked a lot scarier, but the second Widowmine shot also clumping onto the same, I guess onto dead probes, right? They just like fired at scrap on the floor.
Yeah. Freebie? Hello? Freebie? Hello? There we go. Yeah, so SKillous is going to have Blink in charge. You're going to have equal upgrades, and now he's got Colossus to deal with. So souL, his macro, beside, like, he was multitasking 4 things at once. Understandably, a little bit banking, now is in full force. His macro is quite good. So he has an even army supply, but nothing to directly counter this Colossus, and that could be the trick. That could be the problem. Tanks aren't quite sieged. Those storms are not prepared. Yeah, not really a best scenario for souL here, as he's backed into a corner. The Colossus, though, no, stop firing a tank! Help out versus the Marauders! That was a little bit awkward, but here comes the rest of the army, and it will be a cleanup. souL also was losing so many SCVs in the main. Oh, no. Oh, that's GG then.
Yeah, and now the position of SKillous is undeniably good. I mean, he holds comfortably. I thought maybe he would have to give that base away, double expand or something of the likes. But, and here's where that charge that you were talking about does come into play. And he would rather have that one, right? Like, he was anticipating perhaps an earlier attack. So I agree, like, Blink would have been really good earlier to, like, catch those medevacs and, like, the multi-prong harass. But ultimately, having charge in that fight is gonna allow him to just kind of, you know, ram through it, and souL doesn't have much to speak of now.
At times, SKillous had all the things you would expect for him to have, and I think souL, like, it was kind of an awkward engagement, right? Because SKillous was kind of coming around a bend, so it was like, oh, maybe I'm going to catch him in a single file line. It almost worked out, but it didn't quite, and then those Colossus were not being taken care of. They were getting that free, consistent damage, even if they were targeting a tank at one point. And I also think that he just, you know, the tanks he brought along could have been so much more effective. Their siege was a bit late. But what really went wrong was that the Warp Prism did so much damage. If it's just about that engagement, it sucks to leave two Colossus alive and well as a Terran player and have to leave, but, you know, it happens. But losing 30 SCVs on top of that, of course, is absolutely terrible. And souL, I mean, I know he's comfortable in this situation as we see Liberators and Lib Range on the way. He's even so focused on getting it. He's building 2 fusion cores. I know he's comfortable here, but it's supposed to be kind of impossible for him to actually turtle. SKillous should not give him the time to turtle and get to enough Liberators.
Yeah, and he won't. He's already pushing across the map while continuing to harass the main base. These attacks are very difficult to deal with. You have to split a good chunk of your army, and now on the other side, SKillous looking to close out the game, ramming through soul's domain. Yeah. Great job by him.
Yes, indeed. That base going to go down very easily. souL taking a bit of a risk by going for an orbital there. Oh, that was his... I'm confused. But anyways, that was his third, so it does go down. His fourth, I guess, is the left. I just got reversed there. souL down 40 supply, loses a base, loses an orbital, so now only down to 2 mules and only a handful of scans, which is kind of important because DTs are now in the mix. With DT Blink, I didn't even realize that SKillous had delayed extra range for those Colossus until just now. So he's finishing that up as well. souL's got to do some very risky things, and a Doom Drop could be one of those risks to take.
Yeah, now, one thing that I've noticed, souL, even though he got the Ghost tech, he isn't really producing additional ghosts. Do you feel like in that first attack where he had 2 ghosts and just 2 EMPs when he pushes out, he was maybe relying on SKillous going or opening Templar or being a little bit more energy based or even or even Archon based?
It's very possible, but it's hard to say what their actual perception is because following up even a Twilight Council opener with Colossus is really not that rare. It kind of flip-flops between to Colossus, which I think was very common for a while, back into High Templars because they don't expect that, and so on and so forth. No, a Terran on 3 bases just usually gets both Ghosts and Vikings. But there's other problems with that fight, wasn't there? A scan, an EMP trying to reveal those DTs. They're actually going to get a ton of free damage. They even blink on top of that. There's the scan finally, but with 4 Colossus, all those DTs, and the Warp Prism. Oh, no, it is denied. That's still not going to be enough. souL is down 70 supply with Zealots in his main base. GG.
Yeah, the engagement started to look promising potentially there for a second. When those Colossi are exposed, they can start falling very, very fast. But no, SKillous too powerful and securing the game with that Warp Prism backstab in souL's main as well. So good job.
A very nice showing from SKillous, like very nice. The potential for souL's triple and then quad pronged attack to a degree is kind of insane. No one very rare to have the Marines with the Widowmine, for instance. So that's already a bit of a surprise. And then the Hellions also, when his scout actually saw a Widowmine come out first. So, I mean, the Hellions can come out with a factory, but usually before the Widowmine. So that was just totally unexpected. And then who puts a bunker down at a third? Everything was honestly just a little bit unexpected to absolutely unexpected. And SKillous still dealt with everything. And that I think that gave him a lot of confidence on top of all the vision he had gained from moving up with the Robo and having observers everywhere, so that he did maybe feel more confident going into that one battle. That one battle was just so awkward, and the Zealots were just so devastating in the main. That's what really made that game look like that, with the Zealots killing 30 SCVs.
Yeah, amazing, very impressive defense from SKillous. But again, the execution from souL. Maybe is he doing too much, right? Would he do better with 2 prongs instead of 3? At that point, I'm not sure. I mean, the Liberator doesn't really take that much attention, I guess, once you rally it. But the drop in the main, even like You could talk about, if you're gonna be super specific about things, you could even talk about the order in which you load the medevac, right? The way that souL did it, he would benefit from the Widowmine popping out first, as opposed to near last, where the probes will have been pulled away because the Marine showed up, right? The Widowmine won't even shoot or fire first, so it should be its best chance at burrowing if you're just gonna leave it in place. Now, if he dropped the Marines as the medevac continued to move out, and the probes get pulled, then the Widowmine popping out last could be great. These are things that you can account for, that are very difficult to account for, but at this level, you expect to see some of them employed, and yeah, souL just kind of attacking everywhere, not really able to capitalize on the smaller potential of each attack.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of said, like, yeah, it's understandable that maybe his macro isn't absolutely perfect. It is understandable, but it's one of those things where, like, well, then maybe you shouldn't be doing as much as you did. At the end of the day, that did not do the damage that souL wanted to do, even though it wasn't a complete failure at all. Like, it was still okay. It didn't do what he wanted to do. It did not surprise SKillous as much as he wanted to, and I'm actually very surprised by that. I am shocked that SKillous handled it as well as he did, considering how many attacks there were. Maybe he's faced it before. I mean, these guys play on barcodes. Maybe unknowingly souL's already shown that build, or I don't know, but that was a very nice game. Already a bit of an upset too, since previously SKillous did get 0-2 by this guy. We are in a long loading screen for the map.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did that recall as well. The recall was cute. I'm not sure where he moved the units from, but the fact that he was fast on his toes to get that recall and prevent the bunker at the third was pretty clutch too. Really, really well done on defense from SKillous. Can't take anything away from him. And yeah, we're finally loaded in. So in the top left-hand side, playing as the red Terran player for Meggers, it is souL.
In the bottom right, as the blue Protoss, he is SKillous. He's been repping Cascade for quite some time. He's looking very good today. This is pretty important stuff. And I kind of already brought up that he lost against Mana, and that was actually a very convincing 2-0 from our Team Liquid player, but that didn't set him up so well, as this could be a very, very tight group, even based off of map score. But if he was able to take down souL, I mean, I think that does make up for it, because this is the match he's not supposed to win, if anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, how has souL been doing? Is this his second or third match? I actually have no idea.
Yeah, he 2-1 Geralt, so...
Oh, okay, that's good. I think he lost last season to Geralt, actually, right? Or what? Oh, no, maybe souL did take out Geralt last season. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, okay. I was like, well, I don't quite remember, but I do remember just being like, I was hesitant to believe in souL's TVP, and he managed to prove me wrong, I think, on all accounts, which is great. I remember that was also that one of the games, maybe against Geralt, where it was like the Quick into battlecruisers thing. That was a weird one. On this map, actually. I don't think we'll see that again. That had a little bit more to do with what the Protoss was doing, but anywho. souL has this certainly unique take on this matchup. Sometimes it's all about that late game. Last game was all about the early game. Does he try something fancy again?
I'm not too sure. SKillous is going to get pretty good information with that Marine first. He doesn't have to worry about the Reaper. I wonder if he's still going to Chrono Boost the Adept. Do you still want to, then does he want to cross the map with the Adept then, I suppose?
Yeah. I think the nicest thing about an Adept opener is that scouting you can get. I mean, some players, like I know Zest was doing like a triple Stalker opener, and it can work out against certain like Terran openers too. But anyways, like, yeah, the Adept across the map just feels so much nicer. It's a little bit cheaper as well, so you can kind of slap down the next unit, next structure a bit faster, but first of all, waiting for that Reaper. He wants...
Yeah, but he saw the Marine first. I don't like this, right? Like, it's like you saw the Marine first. If you're gonna Chrono Boost the Adept, then your second unit is gonna be in time for the Reaper. Now he's moving out with the Adept as the Stalker is gonna show up. The Reaper is gonna show up as fast as it possibly could have, but this Adept already should be across the map on account of seeing that Marine.
It is a little bit funky. I mean, it's possible he just thought his timings are off, what he was reading. Like, oh, wait, no, Reaper comes out first, not second, right? Or something like that. But in this case, it was the flip, and SKillous is even going to be pretty conservative with his Adept. I mean, you obviously don't get much damage against Terrans nowadays. They're very good about planting down bunkers and raising their depots, usually, that last game. But I do usually think the Adept on the front is just such a nice thing to have. Like, it's most likely they're going to go for a Wood Mine drop. Yes, that is true. But I don't know, like, recently there seems to be a lot of Hellion shenanigans, and even seeing a reactor on a factory is a big deal. It is just the 1-1-1, so SKillous getting away with his a similar opener, maybe even better than last game.
Extremely fast Nexus to go with it, so I would say so. Is he getting away with it, you find? Can souL no longer punish it?
Well, I mean, I don't think so. The Wood Mine drop is supposed to do basically no damage in an ideal world, right? It gets 2 probes max, and maybe not even that. So that's not really a whole lot of damage to make up for this faster third Nexus. It's, I think, more so about the scouting and just anything at all coming from the Terran, and then they focus so much more about what follows up than it really anticipates dealing damage or punishing a third Nexus, right? In this case, the follow-up is an armory. Now, this should not be a surprise to SKillous. As we know, souL has been playing around with the faster.
The Observer's gonna be out of position, though. The Observer's barely out of position for this, and these are mines that are gonna have burrow, right? The armory is completing exactly in time for them. The Observer needs to pull back right now.
Yeah, you should know another Observer's out. And this is pretty perfect. You're right about the drilling claws. They are on the way. souL really likes this opener.
No, I meant the invisibility. Don't you just need the armory, right?
Yeah, I thought you said speed, though. So that was just my bad. You're right. They're invisible. Now they're going to have that speed burrow, too, which is going to make, even if you know they're coming, makes it hard to micro against.
All right. So it looks amazing for SKillous here to start.
Is SKillous going to go for an attack? I was like, hi. Like, he has such good scouting. He had an observer there, right? I mean, I thought he was going to play like a very macro-oriented game, but he actually slaps down 6 gateways first and foremost, alongside charge, too. And I'm just like, he's going to pump out a War Prism? But no, he's still making observers. He's going to be up to 5 observers.
Wow. Yeah, also 3 probes at a time, and he did take that very fast third. So I think maybe, I don't know, maybe that was a supply block and just started making some gateways, I'm not sure, or just started making gateways because he's gonna be able to afford them. Like you said, I think he got away with murder here. I'm not sure how souL is gonna catch up. This third has been up and operational for so long.
Yeah, it's very scary for the Terran. But souL, he has shown a willingness to play the late game, so it's not, if he doesn't think he's gonna win with a mid-game attack, it's not the worst thing for him, where I know a lot of other Terrans would be like, no, it's so stupid, disruptors, blah, blah, blah. He still could be comfortable here. It's never uncomfortable for anyone to be up against this fast of a third Nexus without doing any damage. Finally, maybe. 2 probes there. Nothing else, even with Speed Burrow. I think SKillous has played against souL, knows so well enough that you didn't even have to scout drilling claws. I already have these cannons prepared. Very nicely done. Okay.
Wow, that was like the worst clump still, right? Like 5, that was 3 in the main, plus 2 in the natural? Or was that 5 in the main? Oh, wow, that was like the worst possible mines then, given how clumped up the probes are elsewhere.
Okay, so SKillous is going to do an attack. I was like, that just makes the most sense, right? Like, he delayed his forge. He didn't get that quick of a 4th Nexus. Like, yeah, you don't get gateways without doing an attack. He is. Maybe waiting more so for the Templar Archives to finish. And SEV from souL is going to scout this, which is actually quite... Oh, no, it actually missed the Warp Prism, but you don't see a Protoss attack without a Warp Prism too often. So just lifts, abandons.
Oh, the BM!
I think that might have just been the problem there. Wow, dang. I love how DreamHack hates in-game chat. They just came to us immediately.
Yeah. Sorry, big lag spike. He is ready, however. And yeah, I suppose he is attacking while taking a 4th. I mean, he's in such a comfortable position, it seems, from just not taking any damage and getting away with a very fast third.
Yeah. I love, because it does look like he just ran into souL's base doing like, I'm number one. But it was just a mistake. Yeah, he's in a great position, but he has given up some things. I mean, the economy's great. The upgrades aren't that great. And he doesn't have Blink, for instance, as well, right? So that upgrade also isn't that great. There are things that he's sacrificing to do this, plus get a 4th Nexus. souL definitely shouldn't tap out unless he loses his 3rd. And oh no, don't lose the 3rd orbital, not like this. Okay, well maybe you tap out now.
Yeah, 10 workers as well. So, I mean, I'm not sure. Maybe he's trying to go for an attack, pull all of his workers or something of the sort. That's looking really grim. What happened?
Oh, the medevacs almost flew over that army. SouL boosted to the left pretty quickly.
Yeah, and it looks like he's just gonna pull back. And those medevacs were maybe a good idea if he could at least take SKillous down a base soon, because now we're gonna have SKillous on 4 base economy versus 2. This just gets worse and worse.
Man, if SouL was more prepared for that attack, and I don't really blame him for not being, it was kind of an odd attack. Like, he has drilling claws, you know, like it's actually funny. Like, if I think about this in theory, I'm like, well, fast drilling claws against a guy who went for a charge lot attack. Well, like, hello, like, isn't the Widowmine supposed to do well here? But he just wasn't at all prepared to defend his third, so not even a chance to show what he could do. On top of, the start was not great for him either. And now it's a truly terrible position. SouL, not really getting his game this Friday.
Yeah, and I mean, to Skills credit too, because while it is a Widowmine drop, we saw SouL spend 2 full Widowmine drops, or at least I think it was 2 Widowmines per medevac, so 2 medevacs and 4 Widowmines total. And right after losing doses when SKillous chose to move out, right? So he took a little bit of economic damage, but those are Widowmines and medevacs that you can effectively remove from the theoretical army of SouL. So capitalizing perhaps on that a little bit as well.
That's a good point, if SouL had not lost his third, he's been mining happily from that. His 4th base makes a lot of sense, and he's probably still had an upgrades, which he actually still is. That's nice, although kind of wonky now. But he would actually just, like, all those advantages I was talking about, the lack of blink, the lack of 2-2 for SKillous, like, it would have affected this game, and I don't know, like, SouL would have had a chance, but being down an entire base for this long, he is taking some risks going for his 4th on location. It might pay off, and again, maybe he gets to enough Liberators that he can just turtle. But SKillous has shown really excellent. Oh god, look at the amount of cannons. That's not gonna work. SKillous has shown excellent multitasking to push and pull SouL apart.
Yeah, and really just accounting for what SouL can do. I mean, those cannons are a great testament to that. Yes, he has his army out, but he has a great setup back at home, especially in those outer bases. Now he's going to pull his army back, SKillous, to try and secure this next base. And yeah, he's just trying to get more ahead. Now, here's where it starts getting a little bit dangerous. You have a lot of basic units, Stalkers, Zealots. Your army is not particularly complex, and you are maxed. You need to start trading if you're SKillous. That's
a very good point. And he might trade a little overzealously. Because he might feel like super confident. Oh, it's gonna be big. How is it not? How?
I think he tried to click him on more.
Oh my
and
god!
Then one of them didn't shoot or something. That must have been it, right?
Yeah, you must be right. I can't believe only 5 probes died right there.
Yeah.
Ay.
That was 4 drilling claws mine. Late reaction. Yeah, I think he over microed it or something.
It's a very sucky game for SouL. Viking didn't take out the Warp Prism now twice. The thing was recalled, and now it's helping out with the main attack. SKillous, this is the maybe overzealous push I was talking about. Liberator does not really get taken down that fast. That's 3 Liberators, but maybe it's still enough from SKillous.
Yeah, and he's still maxed, right? So it is a little. He's okay trading poorly, and this is trading fine. I mean, his army is large enough still that he is trading just fine. But I think he would be okay with 20 Zealots just suddenly disappearing. I think he would still be in a great position.
Yeah, it was a little hard. I mean, SouL was only down 20 supply even as I'm speaking now, but I think everything was maybe a little bit far away. The Widowmines weren't all clumped up grabbing those Zealots, and of course, SKillous